Welcome all to the City of Middletown Planning Board meeting for the month of January 2022. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Happy New Year to everyone. And just for a little housekeeping for our transcriptionist, Mr. Numcheck is absent this evening. Present is Mr. Adkins, Mr. Welch, and Mr. Schumard, and all of the other board members are present this evening, along with Mr. Krogan. All right. First on the agenda this evening is the approval of December 1st, 2021 Planning Board minutes. I need a motion. Ms. Witt, second. Mr. Higbee. Discussion. Roll call. Mr. Madden.
Yes.
Mr. Brito.
Yes.
Ms. Witt.
Yes.
Ms. Houston.
Abstain. I was in here.
Mr. Higbee.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Also, before we start, I'm going to point out that any first-time applicants are considered a preliminary hearing, and the planning board may or may not choose to act or vote on those applications this evening. Second on the agenda would be the 108 LaCour Street LLC, 9 to 29 Canal Street. This is requesting a 6-month extension. From Andrew B. Leiter, attorney at law, to Ms. Martina Tu, Secretary, City of Middletown Planning Board. Request for extension to obtain building permit for 9 to 29 Canal Street renovation. Applicant 108 LaCour Street LLC. Dear Martina, I am asking for a 6-month extension of our approval by the Planning Board to obtain a building permit for the renovation of 9 to 29 Canal Street. We've had delays as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has slowed down both our architect's progress and our bank. We should have our building permit within the 6-month extension period. I am the managing member of the applicant. Very truly yours, Andrew B. Leiter. So I need a motion to accept the extension. Ms. Houston, I need a second. Mr. Brito. Discussion. Roll call. Mr. Madden.
Yes.
Mr. Brito.
Yes.
Ms. Witt.
Yes.
Ms. Houston.
Yes.
Mr. Higbee.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Martina, just let the applicant know that the extension was granted. Thank you.
Next up is 26 North Street. Offices on the 2nd floor and residential apartments on the 7th and 8th floor. Ms. Tu, do we have, well, this is actually a continuation from last month. So we have the mailings already in place and we have a public hearing that's already open. Do we have any other written comments, Ms. Tu? Anyone on the telephone? Ms. Hanson, do we have anyone on the line?
Yes, we have Mr. Fang.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I said yes, we have Mr. Fang.
Oh, the applicant, representing the applicant.
He's the only one.
Okay. Yes. Is he patched in already? I'm sorry.
Yes, he is. Mr. Fang, whenever you're ready.
Yes, I'm here.
Just state your intentions again, sir.
Okay, this is the architect for the project, and we last meeting applied for 5 apartments, but we were told that we have to have less apartment. Each apartment needs to be 750 square feet. So we revised the plans and resubmitted. Now the 7th floor has 2 apartments, and the 8th floor has 1 apartment.
Okay.
Oh yeah, actually it's 850 square feet. Sorry about that. So
okay.
850 square feet each apartment on 7th floor. That's a 2-bedroom apartment each, and the 3-bedroom apartment on 8th floor. The square footage is 1,030 square feet.
Okay. Now, the crux of the issue was the square footage of the apartments did not meet the DMU zone code. So Mr. Fang had to go back and revise the plans according to the DMU code, which he has done. Our inspectors have reviewed, and they concur that they are now within the code. Do we have anyone else from the public, Ms. Hanson?
Not at this time.
All right, I'll move on to the board. Does anyone from the board have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Mr. Atkins, any review, any issues?
He addressed all of my concerns.
Mr. Welch?
No problem. We discuss it together.
All right. I'll check one more time. Anyone online, Ms. Hanson?
Not at this time.
All right, I'm going to, anyone present wishing to speak on this application, please step forward. All right, in that case, I'm going to close the public hearing. Go back to the board one more time for any questions, comments, or concerns. Okay. On the resolution for 26 North Street, offices on the second floor and residential apartments on the 7th and 8th floor. They will, of course, be subject to the City of Middletown DPW and the City of Middletown Fire Department inspections, approvals, and when necessary, the approval of the Commissioner of Public Works. The applicant will obtain all necessary permits and follow the permitting process, codes, ordinances of the City of Middletown and the State of New York, if applicable. In addition, if throughout any of the review process, the project is deemed to require bulk requirement tables, the applicant will supply said tables through an architect or engineer licensed in the State of New York. In this case, this is an application within the DMU zone. Whereas the application is located in the DMU zone, applicants must submit and receive approval from the Department of Public Works according to Chapter 407, Solid Waste, Article 2, Collection, Section 407-3, Collection, and comply with this section and any other sections enacted by the Common Council from this date forward. Also, because you're in the DMU zone, we're going to have to waive parking. You'll be required to submit any facade work, any exterior building work with the Architectural Review Board. I need a motion to accept the resolution. Mr. Madden, motion, second by Mr. Brito. Discussion. Roll call. Mr. Madden.
Yes.
Mr. Brito.
Yes.
Ms. Witt.
Yes.
Ms. Houston.
Yes.
Mr. Higbee.
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right, Mr. Fang, get with the building department and get your proper permits, please.
I will. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have a couple preliminary hearings. They're preliminaries only, not for action, but for future presentation and possible action at a date not yet to be determined. And I believe we're going to do, it's NOAC 5 LLC, 274 to 278 Dolson Avenue, Wingate Hotel. Please state your name for the record, sir.
Yeah, for the record, my name is John Fuller. I'm a professional engineer that's been representing this applicant. With me tonight also is the proprietor, Mr. Marty Nowak, of the proposed hotel. And so we've been before you a couple times now with this project over the last few years, though I was last before you about 6 months ago. At that time, the board had asked us to confirm approval with the town of Wawayanda with our proposed map, which involves cross easements and access from both the existing sleep-in, which Mr. Nowak operates in the town of Wawayanda, and the proposed hotel that we have for the Wingate. We went before Wawayanda. We did have to get a variance for parking, accomplished that, and they granted us an amended site plan for the sleep-in project, and so he has approved, for the cross easements that we proposed between the two properties, which, again, for reference, on our proposed map that we presented all along, there's two access points that will be conjoined with the sleep-in property in the proposed Wingate for that. The last time I was before you, also, there were a couple other items which the board had asked us to address. One was a traffic study, which was accomplished. Another was a SHPO resolution, which we had to do an archaeological survey, and that came back negative, and so we were able to have SHPO sign off. The third item was the Wawayanda approval, which we did, and then we had some outstanding technical comments from Mr. Shumard, which I know he does have another current review letter, which I can speak to tonight. But that's where we stand, and we'd like to move forward. Where I think we're at the point now where, when the board feels it's appropriate, we'd like to get a public hearing scheduled.
Thank you. Mr. Schumard, do you have any comments you'd like to add?
We submitted a letter dated, it was December 30th, and we had some technical comments, most of which just require some further information, details of water and sewer connection. Had some questions about some of the elevations and grading and cross slopes and whatnot. Mr. Fuller mentioned the cross easements. I believe those should be written up and submitted to council here for review. The main, I think, item to be resolved and addressed is the SWIP, and that will have to be reviewed, and that'll be a big hurdle. So other than that, in the technical comments, I think can be resolved and addressed, but with some further information.
Jeff, traffic study, have you reviewed that?
We don't have a traffic study. So Mr. Fuller says he's going to submit one, but we don't actually have it, and I don't think it was submitted to the city.
Okay.
I'm not certain as to why, but we did coordinate with the other traffic studies that were done at the time with Dunkin' Donuts. That was a request that you made, but we will certainly get it to you tomorrow. I have it electronically. I'm not sure why that wasn't done.
And is this traffic study that you have coordinated with your next project as well?
Well, that has not been done, but we're going to employ the same traffic study engineer and make certain that will be done, yes.
And has Wawayanda made any comments regarding the traffic flow?
Yes, the traffic study in question was given to Wawayanda, and that has been part of their approval, yes. And in fact, I can forward the documentation of their engineer who reviewed that traffic study. I'll send it to Mr. Shumard so that he has a copy of that. But they sent the traffic study to their sub-consultant, and he reviewed it, made comments, and that's been resolved with Wawayanda. So the approval with Wawayanda is complete. They've approved the amended site plan, acknowledging our traffic study, the cross easements, and the like, so.
Can we have that for our records also, the Wawayanda approval? Could you also send that to us?
Yeah, I'll forward everything tomorrow.
Great.
I thought we had, but, if
We haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
we might have missed it.
I'll make certain everything gets emailed to Martina and circulated tomorrow. Yep.
All right.
And Jeff, have you seen the county's comments?
I have not.
Okay, Martina, we have those, right? If you can maybe provide a copy to Jeff so he has an opportunity to review it as well. I think there was an issue regarding the number of parking spots, how it exceeds the required, and I believe that was because of the banquet hall.
Yes. And I think I've discussed this before. I think you're, by zoning, the calculation for parking requirements, I'm not sure of the standard that was established in the ordinance many years ago, but it's a little light. So we actually want to provide more parking than your ordinance actually requires, partly because we think it's going to be needed, so.
And Jeff, have you looked into that, the parking requirements versus what they have?
No, only that they meet and actually exceed the city standards. Again, any comment, any county comments I haven't seen yet. I'm just got this tonight.
Okay.
The city doesn't normally get overly upset if someone tries to provide
Provide more?
additional parking. Usually it's an issue, getting enough parking.
Yeah.
So in this case, I don't see how we could complain about too many parking spots.
Like, I'll give
The
you an
applicant has done his
example.
best to provide for, not only for his project, but for the city code.
Yeah, only to the extent that it becomes an issue with traffic flow.
Well, one way or the other, if you build it, they will come. So provide the parking, or else you'll have another issue besides the parking or the traffic itself. So,
Yeah, I mean, the parking requirement, and again, I don't know the history of the established requirement in the ordinance, but it's like 1 space per 3 sleeping rooms, and that's just not practical. I mean,
okay.
it's generally going to be 1 space per room, and we feel that's important to provide.
And the only other thing I want to bring up, Jeff, correct me if I might be getting my hotel projects mixed up, but is this a right in and right out only that we're trying to also establish here?
Not in this one, no.
The other
When we
one?
get to the Comfort Inn,
Okay.
we'll talk about that.
All right. But the traffic in and out of this one is not against what we normally try to shoot for with the city, crossing the double yellow line, making a left where we shouldn't make a left, and as far as that's concerned?
The entrance to the Wingate are going to be off Route 6 and through the Sleep Inn, and then there will be one proposed entrance off the access drive that goes into Quick Check.
Right, okay, I'm sorry.
And that's just a drive. I don't think that really merits a right in, right out.
Right, okay, no, I'm probably getting my 2 hotel projects mixed up, but thank you for clarification, appreciate that. Did the board members have any other questions or comments, concerns on this project? Because I believe these gentlemen are being prepared to go next month for a public hearing and for the approval process. They're very close to what we need to do. Would you agree, Mr. Schumard? They're very close. Except for the SWIP, that's the only thing they need to,
They need to address, some of the SWIP comments, and
Okay.
our SWIP engineer needs to review those.
Good.
Well, one thing about this, I'll say that they are filling in an area for part of their parking that was, or appears to me to be done for the SWIP for the previous projects. There was the apartment complex up in the hill and Quick Check itself. So we had to make sure that by filling in and making parking spaces, they're not only have to address the SWIP comments for the hotel site itself, but they aren't doing anything to diminish the stormwater handling requirements that come off the hill.
okay, and I imagine that'll be done through the SWIP report and the SWIP review.
That's correct.
Thank you. Great.
Yeah, just for a matter of clarity, and I understand the concern and comment, the uphill property actually has a stormwater basin above us, and that discharges into this property. There's an easement that runs through it. What we're looking to do is only to extend the pipe or the point of discharge further into our property in order to create the parking that we want and need.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I can clarify that, relative to exactly what we're trying to do there.
All right. And as far as the EAFs, are we,
We don't have an EAF for this project.
okay?
So in my letter, or at least I've never seen
I mean,
one.
we've submitted it. I know it was in the original application.
Okay.
Again, I'll make sure that you get an electronic
Oh,
copy.
okay, all right.
Okay, yeah, we'll just have to, let's just circle back and make sure we have all the documentation and everything taken care of and reviewed properly.
Yeah, we'll have everything tomorrow.
Okay,
You'll
and then
have
if we
it.
have that, then we'll do, if we haven't done it, we'll have to do a part 2 and a part 3, just to complete the seeker requirements.
Correct.
Did we declare lead agency on this yet?
I don't,
I
we
don't
might
think
not
so.
have, because the applicant didn't need it to do any of his work, like some of our other applicants needed the lead
Right.
agency prior, so that they could get the approvals from like the DOT, and so, no, I don't think we have, and since we've only had preliminaries, we have not done that, and they have not requested that, so we haven't. Next time around, when we do the public hearing,
Because
obviously.
we'll have to send to adjoining towns as well, right? Way yonder.
Way yonder, yep. But they must not, they must have approved and, or we probably recognize us as one who will take lead agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, they, but we'll make that official. We'll need a neg deck also, once the EAF is squared away and your SWIP is squared away, everything's squared away, then you'll get a negative declaration and lead agency. Anything else from the board?
Is there any outside approvals that you're going to need?
No, no, the only thing with the way on to amended site plan and cross easements, no, we don't need any, everything is the city of Middletown.
Okay.
I mean, the SWIP is a speedies permit, but that's usually a condition of approval, so.
Okay, we're getting closer. All right, next on the agenda is the West Orange Contracting, Inc. It's 22 to 32 James B. Kelly Way, the Comfort Inn.
Okay, this again is Mr. Nowak's, the proprietor. This is a property which he purchased, which is a little bit further up James Kelly Way. And it's a 2-acre parcel. He is looking, we've done preliminary design layout for a Comfort Inn.
I just interrupt you just for a second?
Yep.
Just so the board knows, we didn't have enough plans. They are up there if you want to, look at them, that's fine while Mr. Fuller is explaining things to you, but we didn't have enough, so we just have the one that we put out for you. Otherwise, we can just listen to the presentation and then we can get copies for everybody to look at. Sorry, Mr.
Yeah,
Fuller.
no,
My apologies.
absolutely. So it's a 2-acre parcel, and he's looking to construct a parking lot and obviously for the Comfort Inn Hotel. This will be very similar to the Wingate and very similar to the Sleep Inn. It's a 4-story hotel. The footprints will be a little bit smaller. This is an existing conditions map of the existing parcel. It's just opposite Schindler Court, which does have a traffic light. So our preliminary design is to do a 12,000 square foot footprint, again, a 4-story hotel. We are looking for a right-in, right-out at the traffic light directly opposite Schindler Court with another entrance a little bit further up off of James Kelly Way. Again, we believe we have sufficient parking certainly per your ordinance, but adequate for the needs of the hotel. We will very similar site concept design. We'll control all stormwater. It'll be an underground system, exactly the way we've done the Wingate property. It will need a retaining wall to the rear of the property. Part of the site is already currently cleared, and this is the first time we're actually presenting this to you. Recognizing, I know there was some comments, and we have not yet, but I'm sure that the traffic engineer can easily update his traffic report to accommodate what we did for Wingate relative to this project as well. So we wanted to be here tonight for Wingate. We certainly wanted to do an initial presentation on that and get feedback from the board so we can move forward.
Any questions from the board?
Why would he need a right in, right out at an existing intersection with a traffic light?
I think based on the grade of the roadway along that stretch, it works relative to traffic going in and out of that particular location. I mean, we're not opposed to making it a full entrance. It just, mainly the grading was a concern for us.
And that road,
Wouldn't you have to change the traffic light to have a light that faces the hotel?
Yes. Yeah, that would have to be part of the project, yep.
Is the second entrance that you're proposing further up James B. Kelly Way also right in and right out?
Now the grade is much flatter up there, and so we would like to have that be a normal entrance.
So we would allow a left turn where there is no traffic signal, but not allow it where there is one?
It's a good point. Yeah, no, it's a good point.
That's why we have preliminaries.
They're good comments. I'm not sure what the pleasure of the board is for us to move forward. Again, this is a preliminary presentation.
We haven't had a full chance to really look at the plans just yet, to be honest with you. But I wanted the board to hear your preliminary approach. And of course, the traffic study will also aid us.
And that Schindler Court is always just blinking, right? Like, I know it's a regular light, but I don't think it's on. I mean, I know we have a bus stop there, and I know it's a mess.
And certainly that's a consideration. I'm not sure who, the traffic study will address that, but I assume the city controls the traffic light at that location, and would it be a concern or consideration to make it a permanent light?
That would be a good question, because I do not know who owns the traffic light for Sterling Park there. I don't have any idea. We'd have to research that and see who owns it, who has control of it.
It's a full light, it's just not on.
Right.
How many bed hotel is this proposed?
I believe it's 98, right? Yeah, it's 98.
$98 bed or 98 rooms?
98
98
rooms.
rooms.
Yep.
I don't know if they meant the same thing, but.
And no banquet hall, just the rooms?
Yeah, just rooms. There's no banquet hall proposed for this.
Is there dining?
Other than just breakfast.
So you would propose the same parking space, so it would be 98 spaces then, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at a preliminary count. But yes, we feel it's important to have, one parking space per room. So, yeah, minimum plus staff.
Any other questions?
Just a comment to compliment Mr. Madden on catching that with the traffic light. That was very impressive. Thank you.
Theron, any concerns?
I'll address them with Mr. Fuller. There's a couple access and hydrant questions, but I'll address them in an email.
Yeah, we would just need, 10 sets of plans, or just so that the board can sit down and have a look at them, study them, see if they have any more questions going forward.
And Jeff, you had some comments?
I did, and I sent a letter dated, what was it? Yeah, December 30th. We've been talking about the entrances, in my opinion, that light, as Dan said, is a blinking light. I've never seen it used as a signal, stop and green, red and green. And in that configuration, I think the right in, right out makes perfect sense, because you don't have a lot of sight distance looking north, because there's a crest of a hill that's above there. If in the future that light was activated as a regular traffic signal with, red light, green light, then one thing that might be studied and considered is to make that entrance into Comfort Inn just a signalized entrance with, somebody could go right through from Comfort Inn to Schindler Court or vice versa. And then you would have a remarking of the road there to have a dedicated left, left turn, through turn. The other entrance they have, they're proposing to have an unrestricted entrance in that. In the exit would have to cross one lane, a northbound lane to get into the southbound lane, a left turn. And I'm not sure how comfortable I am with that, and I think Jacob would have to look at that too. But again, maybe the traffic engineer will have something to say about that.
But I think that-
Also, there's a SWIP that'll have to be submitted.
Right.
And everything, it's,
But it seems to me like that wouldn't be a big deal for you if that was the right hand, because that's not far from the circle. They just whip right back, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. It's a wonderful point. I mean, we could do a right turn, go around the circle, and then they can go in the opposite direction, yes.
And I have a feeling that 95% of your traffic is going to be a right-in anyway. I don't think many people are going to be coming down.
No, they'll be coming from.
Yeah, they're going to be coming from 84, from, yeah,
And if they were
17.
to make a right, they could do the traffic circle and going in the opposite direction. Yeah, it's a great point.
Okay, very productive. Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
very good.
Nowak.
As far as getting a public hearing, do we resubmit and then you'll schedule it for?
I think we need to see a SWIP. We see comments back and forth, corrected. Traffic study, again.
Yeah, it's all done. You'll
Yeah,
have it tomorrow.
we'll need to see all that combined, and Mr. Schumer to get a chance to look at all that, and some of our board members to get a chance to look at that, and then I think we can talk about a public hearing after that.
Okay.
Any outside approvals needed on this project?
No, it's the same thing. It's all City of Middletown. Again, it'll be a speedies permit, but that's a general permit because Middletown's MS4, so. No.
And Martina, this hasn't been sent to the county yet, right?
All right, very good.
Great.
We'll get everything submitted and right back to you.
Great, we appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That being said, motion to adjourn. Mr. Brito, second. Ms. Houston, discussion. No discussion. Roll call. Mr. Madden.
Yes.
Mr. Brito.
Yes.
Ms. Witt.
Yes.
Ms. Houston. Mr. Higbee.
Yes.
I vote yes. Thank you all this evening.